My name is Mary Galloway. I am a founding board member and the CEO for the Women's Society of Cyber Jiu-Jitsu. I also work for Palo Alto Networks as a sales engineer. So if you're interested in learning about sales and that type of work, let me know. We can talk about it. These women are awesome. If you do not know them, you need to know them all. I've known them all for like almost 10 years at this point. I'll let them introduce themselves because they can do it a lot better than me. So, Renee?
Hello, everyone. Is the mic on?
I don't know.
I know. I should just use my outside voice.
Oh, yes.
Reverend Doctor.
Is the mic on? I don't think the mic on. I don't think I really need the mic.
Here you go.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Renee Forney. I am here of my own accord. No, seriously. I am here and so excited to be here to help support Mike, to see something come from concept, right, to a conversation, to actually see execution is a wonderful thing. I am currently at Meta, but I have been at many numerous organizations, fintech companies, government, so on and so on. So I have a lot of former things, but that's what happens when you've been in this space for 30 plus years. But I am here today. This is my official disclaimer. I am here as Renee Forney today. She said Reverend Doctor, but pay her no mind.
I don't need to.
You need to?
This is normal.
No, I told you. You didn't want to take
Let me say, yeah, I need this one. Hello, everyone. I'm Vita Woods, part of the Three Musketeers up here, Renee and Mary. Just as Renee been in here, you had to say the number, 30 plus. Yeah, it's about right. Almost 30 years for me within this space. I'm the founder and CEO of Protect Us Kids Foundation in Washington, D.C. It's focused on providing awareness, support, and bridging the gap of ensuring that children, specifically within rural and marginalized communities, are provided resources and tools so they can protect themselves from online child sexual exploitation and/or online commercial sex trafficking. So that's my baby. Besides the baby, like Renee and Mary, many years in a variety of different places, started off in national security, defense side, went over to political appointee under Obama for both his terms, ended up, I don't know how, in the private sector, at Capital One and Morgan Stanley. I'm just looking at you all because I'm just like in awe. Every time I see this, whether it's pictures that Renee, look, I'm getting y'all mixed up, Renee or Mary have provided, it always makes me a little emotional because when we all started out, you didn't see this at all. It's non-existent. So the fact that you all are here, kudos to you and congratulations to Mary.
Does anybody in here don't know who I am? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna get some views from these awesome ladies, and I want to start with a really interesting and straight to the point question. How do you deal with being considered aggressive in this space? So the example is, John is passionate, Kim is aggressive and angry. How do you guys deal with that?
Well, okay, so, you know you're talking to Malcolm X again, so, all right, so should I have a disclaimer? Well, I own the company, huh? I own okay, all right, so my views are my views alone of minorities in cybersecurity. No, I mean, I think a lot of times, especially with 20, 30 years of experience, you come across different situations and you actually have to define and learn how to deal with situations in a way that will get your point across without appearing to be so. Like, I have never dulled my shine for anyone. I am passionate. That's who I am, and I don't hide that. I know who can take real talk and who can't, because as a people leader, you have to learn how to understand and deal with people. And there are certain people that you come across in life, and as a leader, that you can talk to in a certain kind of way. And there are some people that you know is going to be sensitive, and then there are some people that you just can't talk to, or you have to send one of your employees to talk to them because they can get across to them better. So you, as a leader, have to determine who can take what, who can say what, and how you want to articulate yourself in a particular situation. The way I talk to, and it's for me, it's always been my peers that have an issue with me. I talk as an executive, so my bosses never had a problem with me, and then the folks that work for me didn't. It seems to be those peer-to-peer relationships where I've had the most challenges, and there have been some opportunities for improvement on my part and my behavior when speaking to my peers.
But Mary, don't you think it gets a little tiring?
Absolutely.
The posture and to try to, not appear a certain type of way or not to be aggressive.
You know where I used to work, right? Everybody's scared of me.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not scared of you. Renee not scared of you.
You used to work for the FBI.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Look at what she did to the dummy.
I think I'm tired. I said I was, Mary said I could be transparent.
Absolutely.
I'm tired of the posturing. I think it's completely unnecessary. There's an expectation that we are supposed to smile and make ourselves appear more approachable. And I call BS on that. Because if I'm stepping into a room and I already have to come 500%, even to get an opportunity to sit at the table, how dare you expect me to have to posture myself anyway, especially when I'm being professional, I'm being assertive, all the things that you say others should be. But it's hard to take that from us. It's hard to take that from me because I'm saying it, because you're not used to seeing a black female at your level or above. You're uncomfortable with that. Most of the people that we work with in corporate America or anywhere, for the most part, a lot of their friends, they don't associate with anybody except people that look like them. So when you're in the workplace, of course it can be a challenge for some to be able to understand behaviors and microaggressions and all of these things. I think it's completely unacceptable, and I feel like you treat people the way you want to be treated, and there's a manner of respect. To constantly have to posture and make people feel a certain way, if you're professional and you're coming to the table, it should be unquestioned, right? Everyone else can drop curse words and everything in meetings. But for us, we have to sit and smile, make sure that we don't look a certain way, even just coming in a room. And sometimes you may not feel like smiling. Maybe you have something that happened in your family, or maybe you don't feel good that day. You're not allowed to be human. And that's the part that I'm tired of. So I feel if you can step into a room and be yourself and still maintain your professionalism and understanding, know your stuff. Be a subject matter expert. Nobody can question that. Nobody can question your intellect. They don't necessarily have to like you for whatever reason, but they can't say that you don't know what you're talking about.
She's channeling Malcolm today, so I'm going to take Marcus. Okay.
You gonna take Marcus?
I'm going to take Marcus.
It was a sensitive question.
It is a very sensitive question, but a very real question. If you paid close attention to their explanations, it was about what should be, right? We should be able to be ourselves when we go into the room, but that is not the reality. It's not the reality. I would be lying to you if I said when I go into a room, I bring all of Renee. I can't do that. I cannot do that. And it's unfortunate and it's tiring. It's very, very tiring, right? And so I had to create a persona that would allow me to survive and that would allow me to grow in my career. And it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. It is how I have done whatever I've done. And it's so tiring. I can't, there's no other word to describe the level of posturing that has to take place. Trying to find that very fine, thin line of how much of me can I let out today? Oops, I let too much out. Let me reel her back. And the older I get, the harder it is. The 20-something Renee probably did a lot better at that. This Renee, I keep looking for the poker face. I keep looking. I'm like, oh Lord, where is she? It's gone. And it's very, very tiring, right? But I say to you, find, for your own mental health, you're going to have to find a way to execute and to deliver. I always allowed my work to speak for me. I always made sure I knew my stuff. If I opened my mouth, I had curated every word that I was gonna say. I made sure that my T's were crossed and my I's were dotted. So I knew my stuff, and I always focused on execution, because you can't dispute that. You cannot like me all day long. But the fact that I delivered, and my delivery is above reproach, and I always approach situations from a perspective of, if they're asking this of me, that's baseline. And I didn't look at it as trying to work to their standard. It's my standard of excellence, because my name is on that. Right? So the bar is very high for anything that's going to come out that's going to have Renee associated with it. Find out where your bar is and always deliver at your bar. Treat everybody that you come in contact with as a human being first. And at the end of the day, when you lay your head down, even if you haven't been treated right, you know you've treated others right. You've displayed what you should have displayed, even though that was not reciprocated and given back to you. I wish I could say that it's not going to happen. I would be lying if I did. It's painful. I'm going to just call it what it is. It's painful to continuously be dehumanized and treated as if sometimes you're less than and you don't exist. But if we do not find a way to endure, how are we going to open the doors for the ones that come behind us? Because whatever that we are enduring, think about the people that went before us and what they had to do. Oops, I'm preaching now. They done got on me. All right, I got to give up
All
the
right,
mic.
mic drop.
No.
Session's over, we're done.
No, but it's something that Renee was saying that resonated with me, because that enduring, I always said if I was born 100 years ago, I probably wouldn't have lived that long.
Yeah,
And it's because it's hard, it's hard to be disrespected when you are putting everything, every ounce of yourself into something, whatever that is, whatever that craft is, and to be disrespected over something that they don't teach you this in school. You go to school, you get your certifications, you're sharpening and mastering your technical acumen, but there's not a school that's going to teach you how to deal with the behavior piece, the passive aggressiveness, which is really just blatant disrespect.
Yeah.
No one teaches you that. And so when you go into these environments, you're like, wow, I made it. I put all of this in, you're eager, you're ready to execute and get it done. And you get in there and they hand you the broom and tell you to sweep.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful. You can have titles to the kingdom come. Ask the person if they have the autonomy to actually execute. Ask. You go into large corporations, small corporations, you look to see if there's anybody else that look like you, at your level or somewhere, and they're there, but they're quiet. They're invisible, and they only come up on Black History Month. Right? That's the only time you see them. So for me, it's like, you know what? Something I learned from before, if the door isn't there, I create my own. So that's been my focus. Create my own. That's what Mary's doing. Create your own door, right? Learn as much as you can. Get as much technical acumen. Just learn and absorb and absorb and absorb. But when it all comes down to it, for me, do not waste your time in an environment that's suffocating you. Don't do that. It's too much opportunity to be able to move around. Don't take disrespect. You don't deserve that. No one does. You don't have to do that to get to the next level, to get promoted. Surround yourself amongst like-minded people.
Absolutely.
Like-minded people, people that's supportive of you. I love these ladies. Supportive of you, regardless of whatever happens, right? It's enough to go around in the world, but just to tolerate like the enduring piece, I got a little bit of problem with that.
Go ahead, Mary, because
Yeah.
we can, go ahead, ask the next question, baby girl.
No, so I told others, I said, I'm going to ask 2 questions, and they're going to talk the whole time. That's it.
It's emotional.
It's emotional. Okay, so I feel targeted right now for what you just said, but it's okay. We'll talk about that later. So how do you, this is very tiring. It's tiring at your level, it's tiring at my level, it's tiring at the lower level. How do you balance that so that you don't go crazy? How do you balance? What do you do? What kind of things do you do to make sure that you leave the work at home, you leave the drama, or at the office, you leave all that there?
And I got the mic, so.
And you got the mic.
That's what we're here for, right? That's why minorities in cybersecurity exists, right? That's what the community is about. Because, and the Reverend Doctor will say this in class about these text messages that we can send each other back and forth that are just a couple of words, choice words that will allow us to go on with our day. And you need community like that. You need that support, because the toughest thing in the world is to feel like you're isolating and alone when you are going through some type of trauma. And the worst thing you can do is to continue to isolate yourself and feel like you have to endure these challenges. We are here. I mean, 30, how many years we got? 30, 50, 90? No, I ain't that old, am I? Okay. Okay. Collectively, 90, now would you stop? Collectively, 90 years of experience, and we bring people with us. We bring the community with us, folks like Vernicia with us. We bring folks like Claude, who's quiet. We bring Anthony. We bring Ossie. We bring all of these people around you. They may not be the one that you want to call to pat you on the back, but we are here, and we are creating a community whereby you have that decompression, right? And because you need it. You absolutely need it. Because I've gotten into some trouble. Because what had happened was, no, listen now. What had happened was these things happen in corporate America that cause you to pain points, right? And and we'll talk about this a little later about resiliency. I've had some people just ultimately try to sabotage my career on purpose, and I know it's on purpose. And how do you as an executive deal with a person that works for you that's ultimately trying to sabotage you? That's not something that they teach you in school either. But the reality is, by me sharing the fact that I have gone through it, if any of you are going through it, guess who you can call? You can call me and we can talk about it, because that helps, right? How do you deal with that? How I dealt with it, it caused the ulcer, for a few seconds, but at the end of the day, I kept my respect. I kept treating people with respect. I kept the respect of my team by not even going there with that individual. So you need the community around you, and that's what 2017 was about when we had when we had the conversation, because we didn't have it. We created it with each other, but a lot of the older older women that were of color that were in the space, they turned they got so, no, I wouldn't say they turned their back. They got so frustrated and so tired that they turned their back on the profession. It wasn't the individuals. It was just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm going to go sell flowers at the side of the road.
Paint.
Yes.
As Mary said, how we deal with it is by doing things like this. I'm also an adjunct professor at Morehouse, and the students there don't realize how much they keep me going. Because I get so much joy. You're talking about filling a well. For 2 hours a week, I have a group of young men who are software engineers that I get to sew into them, that I get to prepare to walk into my shoes. I tell them all, look, I need you to come take my job. I want you to come. And what I'm telling you is not what you're going to get in the textbook. I give you a little textbook, but mostly it's not what you're going to get in the textbook, but it is preparing you to face what you're going to face when you get there, because it doesn't look like the yard, right? It doesn't look like you're out there with your friends. It's not. You have to find whatever works for you. So what works for me might not work for you, but you have to find that other side, right? That outlet that allows you to do you. One of the things that's sometimes troubling is that we identify ourselves based upon our jobs. They talking about me. We identify ourselves based on our jobs, right? We solely take on that identity. But y'all, we are so much more. We are so much more as human beings, and we have so much more to offer. We have to just figure out what that is, right? Stop thinking about, oh, I work here, and because I work here, this is who I am, and it's my all in all. You go to a job, you do the very best you can every day at that job. But when you lay your head down at night, you're that individual, right? And think about those other things that help make you who you are, regardless of what those are. Because what happens is that people allow themselves to be all consumed. Life is short. Don't allow yourself to be all consumed, so much to the point where you lose yourself. Because each of you are so much more. Now, when you think about, I'm going to go back to the enduring thing. I don't care what they're talking about. I'm going to just tell a little story. This was when I was in the government. And I was sitting there, and I was having a rough time. I was up against the wall on something. And I sat there, and behind me, I was during the Obama administration. And I don't know, something just told me to turn around and look back. And when I looked back, it was Obama's picture I was sitting right in front of. And just glancing at that picture, I said to myself, now, Nay, that's what I call myself when I have my conversation. Now, Nay, if he can deal with all he can deal with, now they mad with him because he put a tan suit on. And you gonna trip over whatever you got to deal with them? No. My daughter told me to wrap it up. But I'm just saying, you got to find a way. You got to find a way to endure, to figure out who you are as an individual that encompasses the job, but the other stuff too. Now, my daughter then told me to wrap it up, so I got to get the mic up.
good. It was good.
I mean, you did it.
Yeah. And you can move me. Yeah, I'm gonna say a little something. Okay. I think for myself, I think I mentioned this earlier. It's about, for me, very early on, I knew who I was. I understood who I was. I understood where I came from, and I didn't understand where I was going. I just knew I was getting up out of where I was. It was going to be better than wherever I was at. That's what I understood. For me, the balancing act is really reminding myself and asking myself, why did I get in this in the first place? And I think that's important to really ask yourself that. Everyone has a different agenda, and everyone's entitled to whatever path, where there's money. A lot of folks get into cyber because it's money. Oh, I can make this money. When we started, there was no such thing as cyber. I come from the national security side, so cyber was a military defense term that meant something different. And to see how it has evolved has enabled me to kind of be a little sad and disappointed. I'm very disappointed in the cyber field right now. It's become so monetized that we're forgetting why we're here in the first place. It's about, I say this all the time, people who know me know I say this constantly. It's about protecting our civil liberties as people. That's what this is about. Point blank, that's it, right? We went from physical warfare, virtual warfare. This is about protecting ourselves and our civil liberties as people, first and foremost. The money will come, but that's not the intent of this. That's not what this is about. And it's very frustrating to hear our fellow peers in the industry, when you see so many different things and you're trying to balance that, and you see this, oh, we're doing such a great job. Meanwhile, there's a breach over here, and stuff is collapsing. We're patting each other on the back, CISO of the year. I'm like, the year just started. What just happened, right? You see this over and over again, and that's how people want to recruit individuals into cyber. And I think that's a falsehood. I think it's not telling you the truth. It's hard in this space. You don't get recognitions for nothing. You get recognition when you don't do anything to interfere with people or impede them from operations, right? You're trying to get people to understand risk. They don't want to hear that. They're trying to make money. It's not like that. And the fruits of your labor is typically seen after the fact. So for me, balancing that is really understand, why did I get here in the first place? I came here because of people. Purpose-driven. I came here because it was something that was important, and I saw something in my community that I wanted to see how I could actually contribute towards solving something. I'm from the south side of Chicago. Exploitation runs rampant since the beginning of time. Working at the FBI, seeing cases where they were actually, this is how old I am, they're actually, selling women and children on Craigslist. I'm like, what? They've graduated. They're going to selling folks on Craigslist. I need to understand more what that's about. Keeping the focus of why I am here, why am I doing this job? So when I do encounter, I call it the crazy, right? The Twilight Zone type of behavior, because that's what it is. It's very bizarre to go into a job and not, where you have to posture and do all these things and deal with stuff that has nothing to do with your technical acumen at all. How do I balance that? And it's me reminding myself, why did I get here in the first place? And how can I create a pathway where there's other like-minded individuals that also think the same way? I can't be the only person that's seeing this. I cannot be the only person. And seeking that, right? As Mary said, if it's something you have questions, you have this community, you have this community of people that are here to support you, and that's so important in everything. And it's not even in terms of, I think it's just important just professional and personal life, because this stuff absolutely seeps over into your personal. I've seen so many divorces and craziness happen in this field. It's high stress, problems, challenges, and you have to keep a sense of self, and you have to keep that line of demarcation. That is so important. Do not get yourself lost in this. Trust me, you are one of millions. You are replaceable. But here's the thing, when you do your own and you think about where you're going, don't laugh. When you do your own and you think about where you're going next, you open up pathways, and you don't have to worry about being irreplaceable. It's more about being remembered. And that's something different. That's leaving a legacy. And that's what we want to do, all of you, is to leave a legacy. It's not just the cyber, right? It's more than that, so much more. Oh, yeah, that's your turn.
Is it? Thank you. Okay. And I just really wanted to say, essentially, the times in my career where I have gone and up and quit my job, as Renee would say, have been when folks have tried to interfere with my legacy, and my ability to get back. Right? And so one of my coping mechanisms to deal with the drama of corporate America was to volunteer. Minorities in Cybersecurity was created because someone tried to stop me from speaking. Yes. Right? And so we're going, you go up the corporate ladder, you start to get the adverbs or the haters that are trying to dull your shine, right? They're not public speakers. They don't want you to speak though, because your brand may get bigger than theirs. And then they start to be passive aggressive. And I have left, one, two, three is good. Three's good. Okay. Woo. All right, 3. I've left 3 opportunities specifically because they wanted me to stop doing what we're doing right now, which is help. Help each and every last one of you who are sitting in these chairs struggling with how to build your career, how to maintain, how to hold on. They didn't want me to start to talk. And so I said, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to do that, and I have left. I left. I up and quit my job. So, one of my coping mechanisms have been to give back. If I take it outside of myself, and that's what I mean, when I start to isolate and I start to feel like it's me against the world, I get on my own nerves. And so, yeah, I do, for real. Just be quiet. And I get on my own nerves to the point where it's like, how about I pour into someone else? There's a reason why, right before Minorities in Cybersecurity started, I had amassed upwards of 30 mentees because I was pouring into someone else, because I was, somebody else is going through this and someone needs to hear this. And I'm going to at least express to you that these challenges are real. They are, you can get over them. You can get through them. It all depends on how. So I'm going to stop there and let you take the next question.
You're telling my story right now, so it works. We all go through this. So reach out to these ladies by all means for stuff. So if somebody in this room comes to you and says, how do I get to where you guys are? What would you tell them?
Where do you think I am? Huh? What did you say? They gonna answer? Who gonna answer?
Who said that?
Up here. Oh, of course it was the peanut gallery. Oh, okay. Well, honestly, it's been perseverance. It's been the lack of just trying to figure things out. I was talking to oh, goodness gracious, a few people today about how you actually decide to help. And I found the way for me, because, we've all gone through a lot of drama with a lot of job opportunities, and I don't need to go back in corporate America. I told y'all what my 20-year plan was. And so for me, I'm no longer chasing the CISO title. I was chasing it for a while. And when I was chasing it, I got less and less like the person that I am sitting here today. And I decided that it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth me giving up who I am to sit here with you today to try to pursue the CISO role. I mean, those communicators that were in the January class, you guys know that I was going through CISO interviews this time last year, all right? And it became less and less about me and more about posturing. And I just said, you know what, forget it. I up and quit my job. as Renee would say. And I just said, you know what? This is what I want to do. This is what I'm meant to do, and I'm happier for it. So I would say pursue the happiness. It's all about your individual level of happiness, right? And what it is that you want to do, and you have to be honest with yourself, right? You have to be honest with yourself, because we sometimes pursue things that we think we want without really understanding what it's going to take to get there. And that's what the Cecil title was for me, because the closer I got to it, the more I'm looking at the women that were supposed to be mentors to women in this field, like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to do that. I care about myself entirely too much, and I care about the people that are coming behind me too much to be this person.
Bringing back memories. I know there was. It was hot. For someone to come and ask me how did I get to where I was and how they can get there, it's kind of funny, because when I started in this, there was no such thing as a career path. It didn't exist. And so it was more about doing the things that I liked and I was interested in, and I tend to be interested in things that the majority are not, right? I didn't follow the path of purely technical. I got my chops in that, but I wanted to know what was going on behind the door when it was closed. I wanted to understand who was making these decisions to make a determination on how much or how little we supposed to secure something in the first place. Who are these people? I need to get behind there, because whatever they're doing is causing a ripple effect, right or wrong. And so I wanted to be on that side of the house. And I just kind of threw myself in there, because what's the worst that was going to happen? They could say no, because they often say no. And then I figure out a way to work around it, right? And be able to, that's what security people do. You figure out how to work around all of that stuff, all the weirdness. I think something that Mary was talking about resonates a lot with me, of just understanding, having the courage with yourself. It's always, to me, it's always something that's with me. Rarely is it external anything. I don't have to compete with anybody, because when it all comes down to it, it's about what's in my heart. I'm driven to a fault by what's in my heart. And so for me, understanding how I can leverage something that I happen to be, I guess, pretty good with, how can I do that to actually help people that look like me? And the things that I want to focus on are social issues. And no one talks about cyber from a social context. We talk about it from a money standpoint. So how do I position myself in that? That's to say, if you have a passion and an interest in something, and you're good in cyber, you don't necessarily have to make a line of demarcation and say, well, I can't do that. 9 times out of 10, you're able to meld the two in some very creative ways. Being able to kind of follow your own beat to your own drum is so important. Even in the space today, there's nobody, and I've looked, I'm trying to do the competitive research, there's nobody focused on protecting children of color from online exploitation. Nobody focuses on it. However, we are the most vulnerable, the most resourced for all types of stuff globally. And it's like you hear about this and it's non-existent. So for me, that was my path, right? My path was like, hey, I saw this stuff growing up. I'm impacted by this. I think I can actually take this technical acumen, this cyber, and I actually see how this can be leveraged for something that's important to me. The same for you, right? I don't chase a title. I was the CISO from 2009 to 2015 under Obama. I was more thrilled that I was actually CISO under the first black person in the United States. I could care less. He could have gave me a broom too. I would have been just as happy, right? And I didn't realize, me and a few other women that were in government, very few of us held a handful back in the day. It was, you did not see black people, let alone black women in tech. No, you didn't see that. So for me, it was like, oh, this is an opportunity, but it was always looked at as like a fun opportunity. I could never have realized that it would turn into what it turned into. It was an opportunity, and I think if you keep that youngness in you, and don't let this discipline taint you, keep that inspiration, that drive, like, man, this is gonna be fun, I'm gonna learn something, that helps propel you into so many different paths. And don't Don't shy away from the stuff that you don't understand. You don't have to be a SME in it. You don't have to know anything. Guess what? They don't either. That's why they're looking for somebody. Right? They don't know. So it's like, yeah, raise your hand. I rose my hand for all kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll take it. You want to take it? Oh, here, take it. Great. Can I have a little bit of resources? Okay. And then I run with it and get other people to help me. And you learn from that, right? So don't be afraid to do that. That was a means for me to move forward and not be dissuaded by factors that are outside of my control. The stuff that we were talking about in terms of the weirdness, I call it the Twilight Zone stuff, that's outside of our control. But what we can't control is our decision making. And that having that decision making and making the decision whether or not I want to stay and play in this, or do I want to pivot and go somewhere else? That's your decision. Nobody has control over that. And that's actually your greatest defense, is leveraging you.
I'm good. Opportunity. I was sitting here thinking about what my response was going to be to that question. And I think it really, really is summed up in one word, and that's opportunity. I have always been looking for the opportunity. And when the door of opportunity opens, I do all that I can to make sure that I am prepared. When the door of opportunity closes, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, that's true.
About right.
Right? I mean, I do not sit in a spot for a long period of time where I see that there is no opportunity. I like to learn. And so if I can't, there's nothing else for me to learn, I'm trying to give, nobody's receiving, then that means it's time to go. Right? When I am in a spot where I am giving and others are receiving, and it's that reciprocal relationship, that is where both entities thrive. And that's where I stay. When that ceases to happen, then it's time for me to go. It really is as simple as that. And when you ask the question about how did I get there, I need to pay homage to the people who have opened doors for me. Right? Because we complain a lot, but I done had some people open some doors for me.
Not a lot of people that look like us, though. I'm just saying, sorry.
And when that door opens, I'm going to go back to something I started with. I make sure that I'm prepared. I'm going to do everything that I can to be prepared. I'm not going to go through that door. Somebody's going to take the time to open the door and take a chance on me. I'm not going half-stepping. I'm going to be casket sharp when I go in there. You got to be right. Right? Because I'm telling you, it happens to me. I open the door, and then when I open the door, they come in, and they stumbling in. And I'm like, Lord. So prepare yourself for when that door opens. Because sometimes it don't even open wide. It's a crack. And I put my foot in there when the crack come, right? I put it in there, girl. I put that foot in there. You put that, yeah. I put that foot in there when you got to put that foot in there. And when I put that foot in there, I give them just a little taste to say, see, if you let me in here, oh, suck it now. Look at what I'm about to do. Now, if, y'all laugh, if the door cracks open and you're prepared, and then it opens wide and you go in and you succeed, you open the door for somebody that's coming behind you. And keep it open. And that's a lot of weight. I have some mentors. I have a 4-star retired admiral, African-American man, who puts so much pressure on me. Every time I hit one ring, he'd be like, that's nice, but I need you to do this right here. I'm like, right? I'll tell you another little story. I was about to go for my SES, and I said, I don't even feel like filling out this paperwork. He was a little short guy. He got up in my face. He said, this ain't about you.
It's true. It's true.
And in that moment, I realized sometimes it's a lot of weight to carry on our back. But I'm going back to something I said a few moments ago. There are others who have been before us who have carried even more weight. And if we don't carry a certain amount of weight, and we don't continue to progress, to push forward, to succeed, we're not opening up those doors for those to come behind us. At this stage of the game, for me, that's what it's all about. Because I'm like, Mary, I'm not chasing, I'm not doing that, anymore. If something drop in my lap, that's something else. But and the reality of it is, I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. It would be robbery of me or either of these ladies here to have gone through the things that we have gone through and not come back and share, right? To help, only to help. So just hang in there. Don't give up, because it's easy to give up. It's real easy to give up. We give up on a weekly basis. I'm done. Right? I'm done with this. I can't believe this. Beep, 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 beep. But we live to fight another day. And that's what each of you have to do. You got to find your way. You got to find your way, right? For the ones who are coming back. And when you look at us, and to what Mary said, when you say, well, how did we get where we are? I do question myself sometimes, because I always say, I'm just like a little old girl from the country, right? And I'm like, I ain't nowhere. Because I'm on the well, that's true too. Because I'm on the hustle every day. I have to still prove myself. I still, every day, right? Just because it's a different job title or a different company, don't think I walk up in there and they like, oh, this is Renee Forney. Y'all might like me, but they ain't that pressed about it, right? Every day, I still have to deliver to the utmost. I still have to prove. Still. Every day. So it's not like I done made it somewhere on high. No, it's not. And I really wish, I wish I could come in here and say, whoo, I'm chilling. Nope. It's not. But endure. Just hang in there. Just hang in there. If you hang in there for yourself, and you hang in there for the ones that are coming behind.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, reiterate what was said. It's easy to give up. It's easy to complain. It's easy to say, oh, well, they're not going to let me in anyway, so why should I? Why do this? Why do that? Oh, woe is me, woe is me. Buck up, okay? Because it's going to be hard. Everything that we've done has been difficult, but it hasn't stopped. And we have a fire in our belly still to keep going, because you're not going to break me. Although I need to bring out Beyonce's song.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Break my soul. Should we need to? Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. But sidetrack. However, all I'm saying is you can't allow the situations that you're in to break you. You will falter, and you will fall and scrape your knee. Get up, because you know what? If you fail, everybody coming behind you gonna fail. If you give up, you giving up on them. Yes, it is hard being the only one in the room. It's hard being the only. Listen, as a director level employee of a Fortune 50 organization where there is not one other black person, in executive leadership. That's hard. That's hard. Right. And to know that when I go into this room, whatever I say when I open my mouth is reflective of whatever else, is going to impact anybody else behind me. So yeah, yes, you have to. Yeah, I know. It shouldn't have to be that way, Mary, and kumbaya, yeah, whatever. Get over it. Buck up. Go to kickboxing. Do something. Do some push-ups, something. Pilates? Okay, Pilates, okay. Get you some baked goods. For the record, she snacks. She's Pilates and I'm wine. Yeah, yeah. Red, white, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Red, okay.
Okay.
I'll send you a bottle.
Thank you.
So
Or whiskey.
I got
okay,
you.
never
I
mind.
got that too.
No.
So we've got 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Okay.
So I wanted to see if anybody had any questions.
Questions?
'Cause
Yes,
we've only got 5 minutes, and then it's open bar
yeah.
after that. So if you have any questions for the ladies, feel free to ask.
Over here in
Oh, we
green.
need to give her a mic.
Okay, you
There
should
you
ask our
go.
voice,
Yes.
girl.
Southside Chicago, love to see it. So I am a recent grad, and I always hear like advice, but I like to ask, especially as I have amazing Black women in front of me, what piece of advice did you receive that you did not agree with?
Oh.
One piece?
Can you write? You want to write a book?
No, go one.
Since you like people so much, did you ever consider going into HR and do diversity and inclusion? Yeah, that was, yeah. 30 years in cyber and you're asking me to go to HR. No offense to HR. Like I said earlier, we tend to be used consistently in a manner of things, right? Because of our intellect, because of our gifts, because of how we do things, because we have to adapt. We tend to do more. We tend to take on more what we do on the day-to-day. And people see that. And so they use it, and they continuously use it. And they use it in all different type of fashions. And then they promise you things for you to move forward. And you wait, and you stay 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, some 12 years, 13 years, hoping to get promoted, hoping to jump through 500 more hoops, right? Meanwhile, it's others that come in after you, and you're training them, and they're surpassing you. And you're like, hey, what about me? Oh, no, you're doing an excellent job. Performance reviews, 100% off the bat. You're doing great. You know what? Hey, do you mind talking about your pain and going on this panel and talk about how you feel in D&I? Right? Right? That's you mind doing that? You mind? I mean, it's really fantastic what you're doing. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because, yeah, it's a challenge, right? And you have to still smile and make sure that, but you can smile and get your point across without cussing people out.
Oh, yeah, I'm good at
I have a thing of master of diplomacy, being in government. Oh, you can get your point across. You can smile and really, really bring it home. And some people look a little confused because they don't expect a black woman sitting over there basically telling you what you could do with yourself in a very nice way. In a very nice way, right? The reason why I'm bringing that up is because that comment to me, that hurt. That HR person didn't know that, but that hurt. You asked me to do something like that. But you're not asking my peers. I happen to be that one globally in the firm, the only one of anything in executive level. And you're coming to me and asking me why don't I go to HR because I like people? So everything that I bring to the table, all you see, reality, is this. Because you need to get your numbers up. So yes, that progression gets you there, but I see this. You can bring in, you need to keep focusing on bringing in more brown and black people. You do a good job with that. I'm not making this up. This is real talk. This is real stuff that people say, right? These are the type of things, right, that has nothing to do with your technical acumen. It's the disrespect. It's the disrespect. And that's what I'm saying. This being able to support one another, this isn't an option. You need us. We need you. I say this all the time, and yes, I was in, corporate environment, whatever. I love us. That's why I put up with it, because I love us. And I cannot work in an environment when I know that we are not treated fairly. How dare you ask me to do all of these things, and you're not even promoting people fairly, right? And so when I see that, I can't be in the position that I am and not speak up. I can't do it. A lot of us do. A lot of us keep quiet and just go with the motions. I can't. And I challenge, we call it effectively challenging. I challenge that all day, every day. So what do you mean this person can't get into the fourth quadrant? We're doing performance reviews. Well, I think Casey is doing a fantastic job. I was like, he just got here. Yes, but he's just outgoing. Where's his performance? I said, well, what about Tyrone? Well, I never worked with him. Well, I have. Here's a list of all the stuff that he's done. Here's all the projects. He's been on these panels. He's done this, this, and this. Oh, I guess we need to move him into that right quadrant. Exactly. That's sticking up. That's supporting us, right? Leveraging your level, whichever level that is, and kind of thinking outside of just what you're going to get for self and do for everybody else that looks just like you, because they do it all the time. I done taken on many an intern that was a lifeguard and getting paid an $80,000 salary as an intern with no experience. We need to do that for ourselves. This is the part where it gets lost in translation. We need to do this for ourselves. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to wait till you senior executive. You can do this right now. Right now. You need to focus on have this community. This is important. This is so important. And it's going to carry you forever. Long after you retire and doing your thing, making sure you look out for one another. Because ain't nobody else going to look out for you like you are.
It's 5 o'clock though.
We got emotional.
Yeah, it got a little emotional. End of day one, guys. Thank you. But I mean, you could. That's what we hear. I'm gonna let the baby make it. So, yes, the rumors are right. There's an open bar from 5 to 7. The rumors are true. Please, I'm trying to get a feedback form that may come into your email inbox a little later about day one. If I can get some sleep, I can probably figure that out, how to do that. But if I don't, please forgive me, and we'll just do a conference wrap-up one. But thank you guys so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you like the space. Hopefully you like the event. Hopefully you love day one, right? And and we will see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.